Hi, my name is Toby Tompkins, and I am the founder and CEO of SAFIOO. That's SAFIOO. And I'm happy to take a few minutes to introduce myself to everyone who is a part of Africans Rising and or who David Shamala has extended the invitation to view this video and learn a little more about me and the company that I'm building and how I hope we can work together. So SAFIOO, so a little bit about me, my background. My background's pretty broad. I was born and raised in the United States. I'm African American. I have worked, my background educationally is in psychology and political science, and I have worked in both the corporate, international development, and philanthropic nonprofit sectors for over the past 25 plus years. About 3 years ago, I was working on a project where I had done some research that I was going to turn into a book that looked at the shared traits and characteristics of high-performing, high social impact leaders. So I did a broad literary review. I work as an executive coach, and so I looked at the notes of a number of leaders that I've coached, particularly from across the Global South. And people in the diaspora who are from the Global South, either directly or through their ancestry, to see what kinds of characteristics and traits were recurring in those leaders. And that became the subject matter of a book project that I was working on, and that I later received a Bellagio fellowship from the Rockefeller Foundation to go and focus on during a 1-month fellowship in Bellagio, Italy. During that time, I actually was fortunate enough to meet with other members of my cohort, many of whom were from the continent, working in a broad number of areas from urban planning to peace and security. And when I presented my ideas and concept for the book, that were built around 5 characteristics, recurring characteristics of these leaders that I had researched and some interviewed, they said to me, this is a very, very valuable platform for how we can begin to think about a post-colonial framework for developing young emerging leaders, particularly leaders who were from emerging markets and from frontier markets and from the Global South. The challenge that they put in front of me is that the book deal that I had was for a book that was going to be written in English, because I was working with an American-based publisher, and also that most people from emerging markets and frontier markets and across the Global South do not have English as their native language. And secondly, that since my target audience were young and emerging leaders, millennial leaders and younger, that they aren't often reading textbooks anymore with social media, etc. So I knew at that moment, something that I kind of already knew, but I knew that whatever I did, however this knowledge and perspective was going to get communicated to the audience that I care about, it was going to have to be through the use of technology. And so that's when the idea of SAFIOO in its earliest stage was born. And what I basically knew was that the only way I could ensure that the people who I wanted to have access to this sort of concept and ideas, it would have to be put into a smartphone. So as a result, SAFIOO is a mobile-based and desktop and laptop-based platform for leadership development that focuses on 3 areas: personal development, career development, and leadership development. And by leadership development, I mean, how do you learn and develop and grow as a leader in the midst of the business challenges and opportunities that you're facing? So this is a complement or a supplement or an alternative to classroom-based training. And in part because classroom-based training is really an ineffective tool for a number of reasons, but most importantly, what people learn in the classrooms, only about 3% of what you learn in the classroom is remembered or applied back, sorry, that's my phone going crazy, back in the workplace. So I knew I wanted to change that as well. So how does SAFIOO work? So it's really simple. As a member of the platform, as an individual, you join the platform, and when you join the platform, you do a leadership profile assessment. And that profile basically begins to understand against a set of psychometric parameters kind of who you are, how you make decisions, and it gives us a baseline against which to get to help you develop and grow as an individual and as a leader. It also offers the beginning of a starting point for your own ability to look at your own personal development, because SAFIOO is a lifelong learning platform. So we're going to be introducing it on college campuses. In a lot of situations, we're going to make it free to college students or anyone who has an EDU or AU, etc. Email address. And then we're going to be able to help the young people who, of course, will become young leaders grow throughout their careers, so they'll have this available to them. The version that we're releasing first is an enterprise version, so we'll be working with corporations and their employee bases, but I'm also very interested in the opportunity, hopefully, of collaborating with Africa's Rising, because I ideally conceive SAFIOO as a tool for people who are involved in social movement and social change, such as yourselves. And the idea here is that it could become and operate as sort of a central nervous system for you to capture and share the wisdom that you hold within yourselves with each other at the moment that you need that added perspective and that added insight